My name is Rachel and thank you for joining me at Fuel Move Sweat today. I am bringing you a recipe for one of my absolute favorite dishes, and it's also perfect for meal prep. So before I get into it, make sure that you like, subscribe, share with your friends, do all those things for me, and let's get into the recipe. It is stuffed bell peppers, and it is actually vegan, gluten-free, and of course, high protein. So all the great things, and you really only need a few simple ingredients, which are red bell peppers. These are medium to large. These are kind of the largest that I could find that I knew would be stuffable. But if you can find them like this size or slightly bigger, that's probably ideal. You can also do any colored peppers. It works great with the yellow and the orange and whatever. You need white rice, and I mean not just for this recipe. You need white rice all the time in your life. It's one of my pantry staples that I love and use very frequently. It is actually, again, a vegan gluten-free option. It is made from lentil and chickpea flours in the shape of rice, and they have all kinds of flavors. I really like to use the Spanish flavor for my bell peppers specifically. And check out these macros. It's 180 calories per serving, 2 grams of fat, 30 grams of carbs, and 10 grams of protein for 180 calories. And it actually is quite a large serving once it kind of like fluffs up and cooks, which it cooks really quickly, which I also love about it. So that's white rice. You need something like that. You can obviously use a regular rice if you'd like, but this is really great if you're trying to get that protein in. I find it at Whole Foods, other places like that. Beefless ground. Now you don't have to use a beefless option, but I really like the way that the beefless works in this. I'm not actually vegan or vegetarian, but I just really like the flavor of this and the consistency, especially with the peppers. This one's from Trader Joe's. They also sell different brands all over the place. And the macros on this is pretty decent. For one serving, it's 60 calories, 1 fat. We got 4 carbs, and 9 grams of protein. So it's a really great source. It is soy-based and really easy to cook with. Again, cooks really quick. So perfect for bell peppers. I mean, they even put it on the packaging. So besides that, you need diced tomatoes. They don't have to be canned, but just tomatoes, yeah? And this is just really easy, and all it is tomato, that's it. There's no added sugar. It's not like a tomato sauce where there's like other fancy things in it. You don't want anything added, you just want the tomatoes. So we'll be using some of that as well. Besides that, I've got some spices. I have some garlic. You can obviously use garlic powder if you need. And then I just happen to have these fresh things on hand, so I wanted to use them up. I have parsley and green onion, or scallions. But of course, like I said, you can always use a garlic powder, or you could use parsley that's dried, whatever floats your boat, onion powder, just kind of like to taste. So that's really it. So easy. And then it makes 4, possibly even 5 if I had another small one, peppers, so that you have them ready to go in your fridge for you throughout the week. I love to make these on a Sunday. Today happens to be a Sunday. And this is great for heading into the new year to have this recipe in your little collection, because during this time of year when people are making resolutions and I want to get healthy, I want to get fit, I want to eat better, the real important thing to do is to plan, and that includes your meal prep. So this is going to set me up for success this week, heading into the new year, and let's get to it. So first things first is the peppers. So you want to cut these in a little kind of circle around the top so that you can core it and de-seed it, but you also have to have a little lid on top because that's really yummy when it cooks in the oven. So I'm gonna do this to all 4 of these little guys, and we're gonna get the seeds out of there. So that one actually came out real clean. I just kind of like to get those seeds out. I kind of like chop off a little bit of that excess in the sink, and then we'll do the same for the rest of them, yeah? Get them nice and clean. And as I'm cleaning them, I will show you what I do. That's super important. While all of this is happening, I am also preheating my oven to 425, as well as boiling some water in a giant pot. So let me show you over here. Now that I've got 1 pepper done, I am boiling water in this giant pot, and it's pretty much there. I see the bubbles happening. So I'm gonna toss this baby in there, and this is going to help to soften and kind of like prepare the pepper so that it cooks faster and we're not waiting hours and hours, yeah? Little tip for you there. So while I do the rest of this and put these in here, here comes a little speedy fast forward. So now that I have de-seeded all of my peppers, I'm about to throw this one in. I just wanted to show you quickly what I do. So you'll see here that I've kind of cut down the top. First of all, yes, of course, to get the seeds off, but then it lays flatter on top when this is stuffed, and I can really stuff it like past the brim, you know, get all that good stuff in there. So these are gonna hang out in this hot little bath for the peppers for about 15 minutes until they're feeling really soft. Well, not too soft, but definitely soft enough to the point where I know that when I put them in, they're gonna be real quick in the oven, right? Okay, so now I've also been boiling the water over here for my white rice. So I'm actually just gonna pour the entire bag. This is 4 servings. This is one of the other reasons I love this recipe. I'm using literally the entire packages of each of these. I don't have to think about it. And then I'm gonna show you at the end how I track it in MyFitnessPal. So easy because I'm just using the whole thing. So here we go. Pouring this in here. White rice again cooks pretty quickly. So I'm gonna let that do its thing. And you actually just have to take it off the heat and stir it around for a little bit. So I'm gonna do that. Let's do a little stir here. And then I'm gonna cover it again. So, man, literally if you take one thing away from this, you've gotta get yourself some rye rice. It's so good. Okay, now let's deal with our beefless ground. So in this pan over here, I am gonna turn this to like a medium heat, and that's gonna get going there. Also, like I said, that I'll be adding to my beefless ground is just plain canned tomatoes, no sugar added, nothing fancy, just crushed tomatoes, that's it. So we're gonna add about half to 3/4 of this, I would say. It's like 30 calories for half a cup, and there's 3.5 servings per container in this specific brand. This is from Costco. So it's pretty negligible once you put this into the mixture and once you have 4 of them, or more of them, if you have more peppers. So that is gonna go in our beefless ground mixture. So let's get this pan ready to go. While that's happening, while this is happening, we are going to open this baby up. I'm just gonna quickly spray my pan with a little bit of avocado oil Pam spray, just a little bit so that it doesn't stick. And then we are going to put this entire hunk of beefless ground in the pan. So easy. This is like, honestly, the hardest part about this recipe is de-seeding the peppers, truly. And then putting it all together is easy. And then if you've done this kind of water bath for the peppers while you're doing the rest of this stuff, it really is very minimal time that you're wasting in the midst of, you know, your crazy week, your meal prep life. If this is the only time that you have during the week to prep your food, this is an awesome way. I always try to prep one thing on Sundays and then one kind of meal thing halfway through the week, because I also get bored and I want to like keep things mixed up. So this will make me enough for like a couple of days, and then I'll make another batch of something else for the rest of the week. And that will be at least, you know, one meal during the day that I don't have to worry about, that I can plan ahead for. So breaking this up, making sure it's all nice and crumbly. That looks good. Honestly, this is like, I like this brand, this Trader Joe's brand, even more than like the Gardein, is that what it's called? Gardein brand of the beefless ground. I just feel like the texture is like really on point and it even looks like beef. It's kind of scary, but it's good, it's good. So that I have going on medium. Let's add in some of our garlic here. Basically, I love a lot of garlic. So I'm gonna go ahead and that's about a teaspoon, right? I'll probably add two teaspoons. So we got some garlic in there. Again, garlic powder is totally fine as well. I have my green onions here. We're gonna start with about half, which is about a tablespoon. And then same thing over here with our fresh parsley. Or like I said, if you don't have fresh, I normally just use the dried stuff. So, but I think this will be nice to add a little zhuzh to it. All right, so let's mix this all up, see how this is going here. Keep it pretty low for this, any like soy-based product like this. I find it cooks real quick, so keep it on pretty low heat. I see my peppers are still boiling over here. That's good. Those will be ready to go in just a little bit. And I'll probably stir my rice in just a second too. So we're like multitasking at our finest right here. Let's go ahead and salt and pepper. I like things pretty salty, but I'll usually do like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And of course it's to whatever taste you prefer. And then some pepper. We're out of the fresh stuff, so we're just gonna do that, but I like a lot of pepper. So we got this going. We got the peppers happening. Now we are going to add in the tomatoes. Before I do that, let's go ahead, take a little stirry stir. I'll take another spoon here. A little stir of our rice. That's coming along pretty nicely. This will also continue to cook a little bit in the oven when we put it in our mixture. Let's go ahead and add in some of this tomato. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's say we'll start with half and then we'll see where we are once the rice comes into the party. That'll kind of be the tell. If we need a little bit more moisture, which we probably will. This really keeps, especially if you do use real meat. I also do this with like ground turkey. Eric really likes with ground beef. But it really does help keep the moisture the more tomato you add. So, yay! This looks yummy already. Honestly, this on its own is delicious. Like right here, you could put this on top of like a high protein bonza pasta, or you could, honestly, anything that you would make like a meat sauce with or put that over, this right here, so good. It looks so nice and colorful with those fresh herbs in it. Also, sometimes I'll add some spinach to it and it cooks down real nicely. You hardly know that it's there, you hardly taste it, but you get some of that added vegetable nutrients in there. I'm gonna let that go for just a little bit. I'm gonna check on the peppers. So let's see how this is going over here. I'm gonna take some tongs, just feel if they're like kind of getting a little bendy there. Yeah, that's what I like to see. I'm gonna flip it over on its side here. Honestly, this is one of my favorite meal prep recipes because it's one of the few things that I think actually gets better the longer that it sits in the fridge. Not for more than a couple of days, but day 2 is like the best. Yeah, it just continues to like soak up all of those flavors and it's really good. It's so easy. So our rice is going to join our beefless ground party right now. I'm just literally just gonna dump the entire thing into here. It soaked up all the water. which is great. If you're using real rice or you don't happen to, it doesn't happen to soak up all of the water, you can of course drain the rice, but this is nice and easy here. So getting all that rice out into our dish. And the great thing about this is now that's done. Now we don't have to worry about it continuing to cook. You can, of course, do this where if you're using real meat, for example, you let it cook while it's baking. Of course, that will A, take longer, and B, it's always that like mystery of, did you cook it long enough? Is it done on the inside? And personally, I just would rather not have to like continuously wonder and continuously check and cut it open halfway and ruin the aesthetic. So I just like to have everything done before I stuff the pepper. So you can see this is such a lovely mixture now. Kind of reminds me of paella a little bit, especially with the Spanish flavor white rice. So good. My other favorite flavors that they have are the garlic and herb and a brown butter and sage. Oh, so good. Those peppers seem to be pretty good now. Actually, they're kind of bubbling at me. So this is good. I actually think I'm gonna add a little bit more tomato to it. So let's add another quarter of the can. So almost the whole can. You could probably just throw in the whole can if it was honestly easier. And if you really enjoy the tomatoes. But this is just gonna keep that moisture there. Oh yeah, look at that. So good. Honestly, it would be delicious on its own, but it's even better in the pepper. So that is our mixture, and she's good to go. So I'm gonna turn that off. I'm just gonna cover it and keep it warm while I deal with these peppers now. I have already foiled a little baking dish here. I'm gonna spray the dish with, again, a little bit of avocado oil pan. And let's get to these peppers. They're kind of moving a little bit when I pinch them in, but they still feel sturdy, yeah? That's what you want. You don't want them to be so flimsy that when you pinch them, they already start to fall apart, because then they'll definitely fall apart when you stuff them. So let's take these babies out. Just gonna place it right on the dish so that it's ready to be stuffed. All right, now we stuff, and that is gonna be it pretty much before we just toss them on in the oven to do their thing. So really go ahead, press this mixture on down, nice and dense. We're about hitting our max capacity of stuffedness here. So like I said, I kind of tend to like go over the top a little bit with these, make sure they're like uber stuffed with all that yummy, flavorful goodness. And then we will cover these babies with their little matching hats and stick those in the oven. All right, that's probably the best we can do. So probably a whole other 2 peppers worth here, yeah? So I'll show you what I do with the extras, like I said, in a little bit. We're going to cover with these little hats that have now cooled off, which is good. I'm just gonna cover those little babies like so. And look at that! Okay, so now we're gonna stick those babies in the oven, 425 for about 20 minutes, honestly. And then because pretty much it's already all cooked, the pepper is primed, at the very end, I'm gonna broil it on the top if it's not already kind of charred at all, because that's real good when you get it kind of like little blackened on the top. Ooh, we love that. So I'll check in with you and the peppers in about 20 minutes. Okay, so while we've been waiting for our peppers to cook, I've cleaned, I've prepared for packaging them in my meal prep, but I wanted to show you how I put this in my Fitness Pal. I go to recipes, I go to the add symbol here, create a recipe, enter ingredients manually. Title, we're gonna call it stuffed peppers. It's, let's say, I like to go 1 serving because then you can break it down later on. So I'm going to show you how that happens. We're going to add the ingredients by going manually. Trader Joe's Beefless ground. I do 1 serving because then you can go back here, and since I know that I only had 4, that I made 4 of them, this is how much 1 pepper would be if I go 1/4 of a pepper. Now, in actuality, as you saw, I still have extra stuffing there, so I could have made this into 6. In that case, obviously it would have been even less calories, but I'm going to show you, I'm going to actually add the rest of the stuffing into each container that I'm prepping. So I'm still going to get pretty much this same amount. So then I'm going to add that, and that would be how the macros would go for this, which is pretty impressive. Almost 29 grams of protein, only 3 grams of fat, and about 52 carbs for 1 of these bell peppers plus extra stuffing on the side. It is so filling, so easy, and like I said, it stays so well. Let's check in on the peppers. So they're looking like they're getting a little blistery in there. We still have about 5 minutes. So in these last few minutes, I'm going to broil. And you're gonna have to watch these at this point because y'all know when you walk away from a broil situation, that's never gonna end well. So we're gonna keep an eye on these while we broil. As you can see, I've already set out my containers here. And then I'm gonna show you what I do for the rest of this. So I have my handy dandy food scale here, and I've zeroed the scale out. That means when I add to it, it's going to tell me how much I am getting, not including the bowl. So I get all that good stuff in here. And this is how I pretty much meal prep everything and know that I'm getting the same amount when I measure things. Yeah, I use my food scale here. So 253 divided by 4. 253 divided by 4.
The answer is 63.25.
Thank you, Siri. 63.25. Now, I don't get that intense about the points, but we're going to round it to 63. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zero it out again by pressing the tare or the 0 or whatever it is on your specific scale. And I'm going to take out 63. 64, that's close enough. 64, 63. And I'm going to do that for each of these things. Then I know that I'm getting the exact same amount from this giant serving here in the bowl. And every day I'll be getting the same amount. Now, obviously you don't have to be this intense about it. If you just want to eyeball it, like by all means, just eyeball it. For me, this is just, I track my macros. So for me, I do this. It's kind of just part of my lifestyle now, and it also has helped train me to know portions and to know, oh, that looks like it's roughly about this many grams or this many ounces. So anyways, now this little extra on the side's kind of like a bonus little bed of all that goodness for my peppers, which I told you, don't walk away from them. They are definitely ready. Oh yeah. So perfect. Oh baby, yes. So, as you can see, they are perfectly blistered on the top. They have that nice little bit of black charring on them. They stayed pretty well intact, which is always like an A. And they are just ready to go. So happy about how these turned out. So now we're gonna take our handy dandy tongs. If I was patient, I probably would let them cool down for a second, but if you know me, you know I'm not gonna wait for them to cool down. And we are going to get these ready for my meal prep containers. I'm gonna do a little bit of an emerald moment for us here. Just a second. Let me get a fork. Okay, so now I have my little meal. It's ready to go. My meal prepped containers ready to go for me for lunch or dinner or whenever I need a little handy dandy meal right there. I'm gonna go bam. I'm really happy. I'm gonna bam these other ones too, because you know they probably won't get a bam in real life because I'm just gonna pull them out of the fridge and microwave them when I want them next time. But since this one is nice and fresh, let's dig in. So look at that cute little stufferoo guy. Oh yes, hey steam. They will be very hot right away, so note that, but I love it. I'm so excited about it. If you want to make this even more of like a hefty meal, you can always add a little like another vegetable on the side, maybe like zucchini salad or something like that, a little spinach salad. But for me, this is perfect. It's actually so filling and so satiating for hours. So let's cut into this guy, see what it looks like. Oh yeah, I love how you can see all of the good stuff in there. There's like the tomatoes, the rice, the beefless ground, the fresh herbs. Gotta make sure you get some of everything in each bite. So I'm gonna make sure that I do. Got a little bit of the tomato, the rice, the beefless ground. Oh my gosh, really something about it reminds me of paella. It's like that nice, almost creamy rice and spicy texture and flavor with the tomato and the white rice Spanish, I'm telling you. So good. Oh man, you guys, I'm so excited. I hope that you are also excited to try this recipe out. It was, like I said, really easy, really minimal ingredients. And then these are just like so perfect to go. I'm gonna toss them in the fridge, microwave them for 1 to 2 minutes when I want a meal or a snack, and boom, it's done. I'll leave the recipe below in the description box. Leave a comment if you try this, if you have any other twists on it. Let me know your thoughts, and I hope you enjoy. See you next time, guys.